Corn School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Veltima Fungicide and Pride Seeds.
All right, we're joined on this episode of the Corn School by Jeanette Gaultier of BASF and the Jedi agronomist himself, Jason Vogt of Field to Field Agronomy. And we're talking herbicide stewardship, I think would maybe be the overall kind of theme here. And Jeanette, you were talking about kind of an exercise that farmers can go through before hitting the field with the sprayer this year, or maybe even in the middle of the year, just an exercise in terms of figuring out what's actually happening in terms of the active ingredients you're using on your farm.
Yeah, absolutely. I think over the winter we hear about a lot of new herbicide resistance popping up. So one thing I like to suggest is that, farmers sit down. Not every field's going to be the same, but if you take your general rotation and, maybe you're looking back or you're looking forward, but you look and you put down what herbicides you would normally use. And then you crack open your guide to crop protection and you look and you write down or match up each product with the modes of action, and then just go through that list and see if you're overusing a certain mode of action. Corn is a great one to focus on because there are a lot of options in corn here, even in the West. So it's nice to see where you can shift things up and maybe get away from overuse of certain modes of action.
Yeah, maybe not overusing the ones that you already use in soybeans or a different part of the rotation.
Absolutely, because some crops are limited in what you can use or apply. So making sure that you're using the chemistries you need on the crops where you don't have the options, and then maybe being a little bit more choosy where you do have those options.
Yeah, and some you might have the option to use something, but you don't want to lose it as a useful tool. And Jason, dicamba might be an example of that. We certainly, with the arrival of all the dicamba resistant or tolerant, varieties in over the last number of years, that's something that growers also need to think about.
Definitely, because we've already know that in other geographies in Western Canada and in the northern U.S. there is dicamba resistance already developed to a number of different weeds. And so when I look at it as an independent agronomist working with my growers, if I have a grower, for example, that's growing corn and soybeans, and it has that extend technology to use in the soybeans, I would use it there and not use it in front of the corn, because we can use the dicamba in front of the corn at a lower rate, but maybe to keep the pressure off of the dicamba to be pulling all the weight, keep it in the soybeans, and then using other technologies in corn. And we know that corn is a very poor competitor too, and it has a very big critical weed-free period, probably a bigger period in Manitoba. So then we want to look at the other pre-emerges options that are out there, and there's definitely more that we can use and more chemistries that we can use in crop as well.
Yeah. Jeanette, Jason just alluded to pre-emerge options. That certainly is a big part of the puzzle, or going back to that exercise. That's one way to integrate some more active ingredients into your herbicide rotation.
Yep, and I see it even on more crops, not just corn and soybeans, but definitely when we look at corn, as Jason alluded to, it is really sensitive to weeds. Corn's a diva, I always like to say it, so give her what she wants, and she wants weed control. And so making sure that we do have a 2-pass planned out, and whether that is a pre-emerge, some guys still till quite a bit ahead of corn, so it might be a 2-pass that's at spike and then something a little bit later. But there's definitely people playing around with those pre-emerges, lots of great fits, as Jason said, in corn. And so you can mix and match to really get a lot of modes of action in your corn. And so that's fantastic, not only for your corn, but really can help clean up that field for whatever you're putting in next year.
All right. Thanks for your time, both of you guys.
All right. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, there you go.